title indicates, we're going to be taking a close look at the upcoming patch notes for the new Apex Legends release for Legacy. Now, me personally, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not personally too excited about the arenas. From what I've heard from some of the professional players who have already play tested it, it is a completely different game. It is nothing like the original version of Apex Legends. It's basically a whole new game. So if you are getting excited about it, just keep that in mind as you're going in. Just understand that it is a brand new game, so keep your mind open with that in mind. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but basically what it is a 3 versus 3. You know, you eliminate your opponents to win the round. It's basically, old style, 3 versus 3 from like Call of Duty, where it's the last man standing. You can revive, so it is very, very similar to the old 3 versus 3 from Call of Duty. It does base off of things like Valorant, where you have to purchase your equipment as you're going in. So bear that in mind. How you are performing in the previous rounds typically indicates how you're going to perform going into the later rounds. So keep that in mind. Now, they do have a couple different maps coming out. There's Party Crasher, which looks to be pretty interesting. It looks like a town that you might notice Mirage might be in. Phase Runner seems very, very similar to the Olympus area. With the ability of the Phase Runner, seems like that's going to be a really hot contested area. And then they took some old areas from some of the other maps, particularly Gardens and Artillery and Thermal Station. Now, we do have the release of Valkyrie, which I don't know about you guys, but I did think that this was going to be a pretty overpowered character coming out. A character that has the ability to fly seems to have a huge implication in the game. Luckily, it seems like they don't quote me, might have learned from their previous mistakes. So let's take a look. Now, her passive is VTOL Jets, so you can use a jetpack to reposition to high places. You do have limited fuel, and you cannot use weapons while flying. Thank the Lord. If you could use weapons while flying, and this was built into a passive, that would be ridiculous. Luckily, they did build that in, that they made it to where you cannot use weapons while flying. Thank goodness. Now, her tactical is Missile Swarm. Now, I've heard from some of the professional players that it's not as overpowered as it might seem. They don't do that much damage. They are very, very much tailored toward crowd control. Think of like Bangalore's Ultimate. Only a mini version. So that's basically what it is. You'll see a bunch of indications that the missile swarm is coming, and if you can get out of it, then you won't take any damage or get disoriented. But should you be behind cover and get hit by this, ultimately what will happen is you'll only take about 30 damage right now, which is not that much, but the disorientation is the stun effect you get from the Bangalore Ultimate, which can very well change a fight, and it does lean towards using the missile swarm and then following it up with a grenade, so it's important to keep that in mind as you're behind cover. And then you have Ultimate Skyward Dive. Basically, just think about this as a portable balloon, right? The team can basically attach onto you, you launch up in the air, and then you get a redeploy. Now, from what I understand, this does have quite a long cooldown. During the takeoff, you can get shot out of it, and that will cancel it. Luckily, I don't know if it puts it on cooldown. I don't believe that it does. And since she is a recon character, she can scan the survey beacons to reveal the next location. Now, this is something I was excited about, but after hearing some of the playtesting, I am very, very concerned about the release of the Bocek. Now, that is how it's pronounced, as you can see down below, Bocek. Now, this is a brand new weapon coming to Apex. It is a bow and arrow. Now, there's a couple things I'm kind of concerned about this. Now, due to the fact that it is a bow, there is no sound indication, which I know everyone's going to be complaining about when this thing comes out. It has no sound. It is truly and utterly silent. So, and you might be wondering, well, how much damage does it do? Well, a body shot, I believe, takes about 70 damage. A headshot does about 140, I believe, which is absolutely nuts. Thinking about the Sentinel, but a silent version that does have a faster fire rate. This has a faster fire rate than the Sentinel, and it is completely silent. Now, what are some of the downsides? Well, the downside is that the bullet is incredibly small. It is incredibly hard to hit these shots on a moving target. Now, I will say this. Here's another problem that's going to come out with the Bocek. Ammo. It uses brand new arrows, which are a new ammo type, which means that the loot pool is going to be a little bit more diluted, and they are incredibly rare. Arrows are rare. I mean, it is very. If you are thinking you're going to go out there like Legolas from Lord of the Rings and fire off 57,000 arrows infinitely, think again. It's not going to happen. There are so few arrows on the map that they have introduced it in a method that fired arrows will stick to surfaces. This is going to be completely useless because you will not pick up this ammunition automatically. You will have to walk up and interact with the arrows in the environment. This means that once those arrows are fired, I don't know about you, but I don't have time to go and pick up individual bullets for my guns. Now, maybe I'm different, but that's how I see it. Now, some of the good things is it does go all the way from the 1 times all the way up to 3 times optics, so it can be a close or a long range weapon. More likely, it's going to be that medium range 1x2 2 times, but I'm just guessing at this point. Now, it does have 2 new hop-ups, which I did not get a chance to look at earlier, Shadow Caps and Deadeye's Tempo. So we will be looking at those a little bit later on when they come up in the patch notes, but I'm excited to hear what those do. Because Shadow Caps and Deadeye's Tempo, I believe, is not just for the bow, but we'll take a look at that. So Olympus does have a new fleet update that's coming out, so a bunch of the areas are getting modified, which should be a lot of fun. Now, there is a parasitic plant that has apparently begun to take root, which is really cool, as you can see up here based on the Bonsai Towers and the area next to Bonsai Towers, which looks awesome. That just looks absolutely stellar. Should be a fun modification to the world. I'm hoping to get my hands on that. Now, here's one of the things that I am most excited about. I am so ecstatic about this change. I've been asking for this since like season 3. Starter and loot kits. Now, this means that when you load into the map, you will load in with a white helmet, a white Evo shield, a white knockdown shield, 2 shield cells, and 2 syringes. This means that during those early game engagements, you're not going to drop in and automatically lose a 1v1 with someone who has purple armor just based on the fact that they got lucky on drop. You actually stand a chance of winning that engagement. Now, it's still hard, but you have a better chance of winning it than you previously did. Now, this also means great things for us. Level 1 helmets and knockdown shields, gone. They are no longer going to be in the loot pool. This means they are, undiluting the loot pool. I'm not sure what the proper word for that is, and I don't think it's eluding. But essentially what they're doing is they're removing items from the loot pool as they add new stuff in so that the loot pool becomes more and more balanced, which is great. They're also reducing the chance of level 1 Evo shields in the loot pool. They're not removing them for the purpose of available armor swaps, which is good. I'm glad they did that. That's good to keep in mind. And now this also means that they've balanced it around higher tier versions of the armors and upgrades so that they don't appear substantially in the loot pool. Instead, what they did, which is something we've been asking for quite some time, they've increased weapons, ordnance, health, and ammo. This means that we will literally find more weapons, ammo, health, and things that we actually need in the loot pool, rather than a white helmet and a white knockdown shield, which is great. I'm super ecstatic about the fact that they're making that change. Now, this just goes on to talk about those loot changes. This I'm not super ecstatic about, but I can see why some people would be. They're bringing emotes into the game. Here are just some examples about some of the changes. So you've got right here, this is a crypto one. This one I know a lot of people are going to be super ecstatic about. I'm excited about this one. Watson basically leans down, places the Nessie doll down, and before you ask, yes, those Nessie dolls stay in the game. They will stay there for indefinitely throughout the match. So you can literally put like 17,000 Nessie dolls over the map, and you can do it all the time. They have some other ones for, basically every single legend in the game. Everyone gets at least one emote. Some of them are pretty funny, I think. so it's gonna be good. So that's that. Now this I'm not too thrilled or de-thrilled about. It's good that they're keeping this in mind, but I think the way they implemented it, I'm not a fan of. As you can see on the left side, this is with anti-peek enabled. This is with anti-peek disabled on the right. Now, what this means is when you peek with the emote, right, that some characters will have, as you can see on this screen, if you notice, there's no one here, but there's someone here, but they're looking at the exact same angle. There is an enemy here in vision. There's an enemy standing here on both sides, but this one just hides it. You'll see it blip in as it zooms back in. This means if someone did try to use it and was unaware of this being enabled, this means that they would technically peek around the corner and someone could be sprinting right at them and they would have no idea. Now, so long as it's made clear to everybody, crystal clear, that anti-peek is disabled with this on, hopefully people won't get confused. So basically, you cannot use emotes to peek around corners that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So, you cannot peek with this. Period. It does not work. Enemies will be invisible. Just to be clear. There is an enemy here, but the game is hiding it from you for integrity purposes, which I'm fine with. That would only be used by the upper echelon or like some really sweaty players. So, I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal. They're gonna talk about Battle Pass, which is, fine, whatever. I'm not too big a fan of either of these skins. They look fine, but they're not that like, Now legend updates. Before we get to the legend updates, I am thrilled about these legend update changes. I think some of these have been coming for a long, long time. So let's jump right in. Low profile is gone. Thank the heavens. I cannot tell you how long I've been asking as a Pathfinder main, get rid of low profile. These two characters, Lifeline and Watson, at no point in time did they need low profile, in my personal opinion. Yes, Lifeline at her inception was ridiculously strong, but low profile was not the answer. Anything in this game that removes skill from the game and just automatically makes it easier on other players, I just feel like it just does not belong in a first-person shooter. Get good at the game. Period. Yes, there are some things that deserve to be nerfed, and believe me when I say there's something deserve to be nerfed. For example, I think that Wraith's hitbox absolutely need to be changed. I agree. The only thing that I agree with is the heavy characters, Gibraltar and Caustic. Now they've made it clear that they will never make another fat character in this game because of the implications that it has on the game. And I agree. I don't think that it was good that they made those characters that way because of the balance around it. I think it's fine to have characters like that in the game, but I just don't think that they have a place in Apex Legends, in my opinion. So, low profile, gone. Fantastic, right? Lifeline nerfs coming in. Well, I should say changes. Definitely some nerfs though. Combat revive. It can no longer deploy a shield. Thank the heavens, because this shit was so ridiculous. And now they did make it to where it can now revive two players at the same time, which I'm thrilled about. That's great. I think that Lifeline having the ability to combat revive two people at the same time is fine. Especially for when you win a fight, you just pick them both up. I think that's great, and no shield needed there. You can also cancel revives in progress so that your teammates don't automatically just get killed. I think the teammate has the ability to cancel it. I wouldn't imagine they'd put that on Lifeline to do that. Because she'd probably res and start running away. Now Doc Hill Drone, I think this has been needed for quite some time. Doc Hill Drone, heal went up from 5 HP to 8 HP. I don't know if that's enough of a change. I would have liked to have seen this pushed up to 10 HP. I don't think it'd be incredibly broken, considering that when you take damage, the healing stops anyway. But perhaps it's just too strong. Maybe they're gonna wait to empower that a little bit more. The deployment time has also been reduced by 33%, which is great. So it deploys faster. I don't see that making a huge difference, but I like where it's going. And then care package, I would have liked to have seen this maybe like 4 minutes, because like 6 minutes is ridiculous. Most games last 18 minutes. You might get 3 care packages. But now you might get 4, maybe, but depending on if you have ultimate accelerants. Now it does guarantee upgrades if possible, in 3 categories: body shield, other equipment such as helmet, backpack, knockdown, and then a weapon attachment. Now, I'm not certain if you will guaranteed get one of each of those. If they did, the body shield and guaranteed upgrade is nice. Now, I'm curious, who does that base it off of? Is it based off the lifeline? Is it based on the average shield of all the players? Because if my team it has white, do we get a blue if the other 2 people have blues? I'm not sure. I guess we'll have to see. I'm not sure how they have that coded. I'm hoping that it's based off the lifeline, so that the lifeline can be given the better armor and then guarantee like a purple armor. But we'll have to see. We'll see. And then you're also guaranteed helmet, backpack, or a knockdown shield in the other equipment slot, and then a weapon attachment. Again, I'm not sure how they're going to base the weapon attachments, but we'll see. Now, let's see. Octane. I don't think this change is too incredibly impactful. They reduced the cooldown of the stem from 4 seconds to 1 second. They increased the health cost from 12 to 20. I don't know that this is going to be that big of a change for Octane mains that know when the speed runs out. And, I think that this won't make that big of a difference. Now the increased bullet spread while in the air and shooting from the low launch pad. Yeah, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. Because you used to be able to slide into the jump pad and have perfect or near perfect accuracy. The jumping, just the upward trajectory jump pad has never had increased accuracy, only the low trajectory one, which is the one that 90% of the time you'll use anyway. So I think that that's going to be a huge change. I think that's going to hurt. It won't hurt all that much, but that's going to hurt the ability of Revenants and Octanes to use that effectively. Or as effectively. Now, this is going to be massive changes for Loba. Loba is going straight to S plus tier, guaranteed. You're going to start seeing Loba on every single squad. I guarantee it. This is going to push Loba to being broken status. I mean, absolutely nuts. You will see Loba. Loba will be on every squad, if not every other squad, guaranteed. You're looting or finding ammo. Oh, those days are over. Every bit of ammo is going to be gone off the map with the Loba on every squad. Looting is going to be so fast. The game speeds, you think they're fast. Now, those games are going to go so fast. Because people are not going to be looting anymore. They're going to rely on Loba and Loba's ultimate. Now, I know everybody's looking down here saying, oh, but it increased by 30 seconds. Who cares? 30 seconds ain't nothing. Honestly, this is 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Compared to that of a 5-minute care package from Lifeline. You think about that. If you loot 2 areas with a Loba, I almost guarantee you're going to find an upgraded armor and some attachments, and you're going to get 6 of them. 6. Whereas you only get maybe 1 upgraded armor and maybe some upgraded attachments. In addition to the fact that it also gives you infinite amounts of ammo, basically. But the big change here is that she can run and slide at full speed while aiming the bracelet. No slowdown while you're launching it. No slowdown on landing either. When that thing teleports, you're full speed. You're going to see Loba sprint behind buildings, yeeting that thing over fence lines, and just continuing to haul ass. You're not going to be able to pin that. You're not going to be able to pin her down. She's going to be the new Wraith main. I almost guarantee it. There's no reason that she wouldn't be. She is going to be so insanely strong. Now, Horizon is getting a huge nerf. I believe this is going to push Horizon very, very low on the priority list. I think that she's still going to be strong, but this is going to nerf Horizon in a way that she's not going to feel as oppressive. Now, she's still going to have the ability to ult and impact fight that way. But the thing that's most frustrating about a Horizon right now is the ability for Horizon to zip up and then strafe back and forth with a Spitfire unloading for 30 seconds. Now, that's no longer going to be the case. They've reduced the lift speed by 30%. So tracking that thing, going all the way up, easy. Right? They've also reduced the side-to-side acceleration. She's going to be, imagine, light machine gun strafe speed back and left. That's basically what that's going to be. So for most players, this is going to make it to where anybody can shoot her out of the sky. They've also went ahead and limited the time you can sit at the top to 2 seconds. Right now, it's upwards of like 5 to 7, I believe, possibly even 10. I think 10's pushing it, but 5 to 7 is pretty reasonable about where I believe it was previously. So this is a huge nerf, nerfing it down to 2 seconds. So you're literally going to go deep, 1, 2, and it's going to kick you out, which is good. They've also increased the cooldown again from 15 seconds to 20 seconds. This is going to mean that during a fight, a Horizon should not be able to get off 1 and then a second, possibly even a third during these engagements. So she's going to be limited to maybe 1, at most 2, depending on how fast those fights are going. This change, I don't believe is going to make that big of a difference. I do believe that Wattson will be decently meta in some of the new in some of the new ranked matches, but not huge. So definitely going to be hitting competitive though. So Horizon's abilities previously would not get zapped by Wattson pylons, which was ridiculous. You would think they would get zapped, but they don't. So this is going to be a huge change, so that's good. Now, Fuse. Think back to when they buffed Revenant to have 2 stacks of Knuckle or 2 stacks of the Silence. This is basically what they're doing. They're buffing Knuckle Cluster to have 2 stacks, and they're reducing the cooldown from 25 seconds to 20. This is not going to change much of anything. In order for that ability to be useful, it did need more damage. Right now, it does at most, I think it's like 30 to 50 damage. This can make a difference, but with how it's currently coded, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. They're trying to be careful about buffing him because they don't want him to be the character that kills you with his abilities, but that's kind of how he was designed. That's what his abilities were designed to do, to be damage abilities. And that was their mistake in the first place, to code him that way. Plain and simple. You guys already messed up with the way you designed him. Bangalore, they thickened the Bangalore smoke because it got thinned out by mistake in one of the previous patches. Now this, I apologize to all you Bloodhound mains out there who started to main him because it was good for ranked, but guess what? They're kicking you in the nuts. No longer receiving assists from Eye of the Allfather, which is the scan. So for those of you who are farming assists, getting carried to Diamond and and farther beyond that because of assists from Eye of the Allfather, guess what? Time to get good at the game because they're removing it. So good luck. So that's definitely going to hurt a lot of the Bloodhound mains who are banning him strictly for that reason. Crypto. Crypto's just not in a good place right now. He can now scan and open care packages, but he can't pick up any of the shit in the care package. So I don't see that being that big of a deal. Loba can literally see into the care package. There's no reason that he would need this ability. And he can no longer use his drone to hijack a respawn beacon that's already in use. That's a nerf. Because you used to be able to just fly straight up to a respawn beacon that someone's actively trying to respawn at and just boop, click it, and it would automatically respawn. Now, let's talk about the Marksman Weapon category. Let's talk about it. Now, so let's talk about it. So the G7 Scout and the 3030 are in the assault rifle category. They're a bit strange due to their firing style and some of their handling values. Similarly, the triple take felt a little out of place in the sniper category. With the introduction of the bow check bow, we felt it was a good time to introduce a new weapons category, Marksman Weapons, which will include the G7, the 3030, triple take, and bow check. Weapons in this category are precision weapons that are most effective up to medium and long range and others. So the sort of in-betweens between assault rifles and snipers. This allows us to begin moving the settings of these weapons towards more consistent values for the class, and make the settings of ARs and snipers more consistent with less outliers. For starters, we're increasing the movement speed while aiming down sights for marksman weapons. Thank God. They were at sniper speeds and will now be between AR and sniper speeds. Additionally, we have done some target normalization of hipfire spread amounts. That's good. Now the supply drop rotation, as soon as you guys thought, oh yeah, we're going to get a new style of triple take, it's gone. The Peacekeeper's coming out of the care package, and the triple take, of all things, is going into the care package. Now this means that the EVA 8, the Peacekeeper, and the Mastiff are all going to be floor loot this upcoming season. Now, with that in mind, I do believe that the Peacekeeper will outperform the Mastiff, and I do believe that the EVA 8 will be on par, if not better, than the Peacekeeper, depending on how they're going to change the damage output of the Peacekeeper. Now, the Peacekeeper will still have precision choke built in, so be excited about that. You'll no longer need that hop up. And crate weapon drop rates. Since they're exchanging a shotgun with Marksman, now is a good time to rebalance the drop rate of care packages. This Kraber will spawn less often in the early game and more often in mid game, and then the triple take will be the most common early game crate weapon, with the Prowler being the most prominent late game crate weapon. Now here's the fully kitted rotation. I am excited about this. It's going to have the Bocek, the Wingman, the Hemlock, the R99, and the Sentinel. Now, the Sentinel I'm not too excited about, but the R99, the Wingman, and the Hemlock, super excited about. This should be a really, really good place to be. And they're taking out the 3030 Mozambique, the R301, the Spitfire, and the Longbow. Now, for the hop-ups, this should be interesting. The Shatter Caps. You get to fire select to toggle between standard and shatter mode. In shatter mode, the rounds will split into a blast pattern on firing. It will be equipable to the 3030 and the Bocek. Now, this means that literally it's basically turning these guns into similar to a shotgun at medium to long range. The Deadeye's Tempo, firing at the perfect moment, increases fire rate. This can currently be attached to the Sentinel and the Bocek. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to work with the Sentinel. I'm not sure if this means that the Sentinel will need to be fired once, and then as it's reloaded, fired instantly afterwards. If it does, I'm not sure that's going to be worth it. So the Hammer Points, though, and the Skull Piercer are being vaulted for now and will not be available. This is a nerf to the Longbow, as well as the Wingman, and obviously the Mozambique and the P2020. Now, this is going to hurt quite a bit. For those of you who love assault rifles, think along the lines of Flatline, Hemlock, R301, all of those. Sorry to say, they're reducing the headshot multiplier. So it's going to go down from 2.0 to 1.75. This is I think it's like a 12.5% nerf straight across the board. That's going to hurt a lot. That's just straight up 12 to 13% less damage you are doing. So for those lovers of the R301 and the Flatline, and the people really aren't loving the Havoc right now, the R301 and the Flatline, that's going to hurt. Now, the good news is, I believe this is a predecessor to buffing the damage, the flat damage of the R301 and possibly even the Flatline. I believe, and possibly even making some additional changes to the Havoc. Now, I'm not certain about that, but that's what I would bet they're doing. Because these guns, the R301, the Flatline, the Hemlock, they've been just unmatched in some of the fights that they're available to be in. Now, the Peacekeeper, again, as I said before, they are leaving the precision choke by default. The pellet damage is being reduced from 10 to 9, which is not a huge nerf. It's a decent nerf, but it's not huge. The rechamber time increased from 0.9 to 1.1, and the reload times increased from basically 2.45 to 2.5, and then from 3.35 to 3.5. This pellet spread has been increased, and the spread when charged increased for all levels, and it quickly loses charge after leaving ADS. This was just basically nerfing the precision choke. Now, with the triple take, it's going to come with a 9 ammo clip and 63 reserve, which is a lot. The fire rate's been increased. The time to fully charge has been reduced, and it retains this charge briefly after leaving ADS. The movement speed while aiming down sights has been increased. Faster than snipers, but slower than ARs, which is really strong. It's going to be really strong. And then increase the spread while airborne and aiming down sights, which is good because that thing is OP up close. Now this I haven't read the patch notes, so this is huge. They've increased the recoil controllability early on in the pattern. Thank the Lord. I've been waiting for this change for the Havoc for quite some time. Now, I don't think this is enough to bring it back into meta. This thing needs, I'm telling you, they need to remove the charge up and just remove the turbocharger from the game and then balance it around being an automatic energy assault rifle. I think that that's what they need to do. We'll see if they do that later on, but right now they seem to really love the charge up capabilities of it, so we'll see. Now, the Spitfire. Reduced recoil controllability early on in the pattern. I don't think this is enough to nerf the Spitfire into the ground. they need to. It depends on how much they reduce the recoil controllability. If it's like old style flatline where that thing is all over the place like a fish out of water, then maybe it's enough, but we'll see. Now the 30-30 repeater, they've increased the leg multiplier from 0.75 to 8.85. I don't think that's a big deal. Movement speed while aiming down sights has been increased to match other marksman weapons, faster than snipers, slower than ARs. I still don't believe that this is going to make the 30-30 any good. The G7 Scout, similar things. Now they have increased the hipfire spread size. I think this was needed. That thing has a really good hipfire up close. And obviously they increased the movement speed as they noted before. The Longbow, they've increased the headshot multiplier. And then the Wingman has had his headshot multiplier increased as well. With this is to balance about the fact that they've reduced Skull Piercer. Obviously, I think that the Skull Piercer is still good to have in the game, but I think that this is a start in the right direction. Mozambique. I talked about this in some of my previous videos. They've increased the magazine capacity from 4 to 6, and they've moved the lower 2 pellets inward in the blast pattern. Now, I talked about this quite a long time ago, and nobody really kind of believed me when I was talking about it originally, but this is going to bring the Mozambique into competition with some of the other shotguns. I truly believe that this will actually bring the Mozambique into competition. Truly. Because with the ability for the 2 pellets on the bottom being brought inward, the ability to hit 3 bullets becomes so much more consistent. And with those bullets doing upwards of, I believe it's like, I think it's like in the 50s or 60s. Some of the other shotguns can't even compete with that really. Especially with the fire rate that this thing is capable of putting out, as well as the reload speed. Now, some of you might not remember, but this thing used to have 3 shots. Now it's got 6, and it still has the same fire rate, the same reload speed. I'm telling you, you hold that button down and you hit 3 of those bullets, that person is broken, if not downed already. And then you have 3 more shots to go. If you're hitting headshots with this thing at all, it's going to be nuts. Now, I'm not saying that the Mozambique is going to outperform the Peacekeeper or the EVA 8, but I am saying that it is going to be much more viable, especially in the early game. So maybe when you're finding a Mozambique early on the match, you might actually want to pick it up. Now, the P2020 with the removal of the hammer points, they are bringing this into balance a little bit. They're increasing the bullet damage from 15 to 18, which is good, and they're lowering the fire rate. I think that 8.5 for a pistol was kind of insane. So they're bringing up the damage and lowering the fire rate, which I think is fine. Arc stars. Aim and movement slow removed from the initial stick. So basically, when you get stuck with an arc star, you're not immediately going to just die because you can't physically hit the person because they're just out strafing you. So that's good. Now, quality of life. Badges are now sorted and can be filtered by all or unlocked only. So that's nice. Quality of life. When looting death boxes, players can now see health bars for everyone on their team. I don't think that is a huge deal. Challenges can now be favorited. That's nice. Pressing and holding F2 will bring up the ability description for your character. That's only available for PC. Players can now request better equipment by going to their inventory and picking a piece of equipment. Basically saying, I need a purple helmet. This is for people without a mic mainly. Your first challenge reload is free. Rerolling your challenge will allow you to choose from either BR focused challenges or arena focused ones, which is nice. Hall sprays, quips, and emotes can be favorited. Club invites, you can now include what you want to play when you send your club invite to party invite. Basically arena or, whatever, ranked, etc. Fixed edge cases where an abandon penalty would be incorrectly applied due to server errors. Thank goodness. I've seen those happen. Flight path adjustments. Removing edge dropship flight paths to prevent matches where large portions of the map receive little to no traffic. I feel like this should have been in the game a long time ago. Yeah. So basically, in some cases the ship would drop like in this straight line here. I'm sorry, but in this path, there is no one going all the way over to like artillery and runoff and things like that. That's well over like 1,500 to 2,000 meters away. Nobody's flying that far. So the good news is basically they're drawing it so that every ship passes through the center of the map. So that should make the game feel significantly more balanced. Ring update. So we're continuing work from the Fight Night update to improve match pacing towards the end of the game. We're slowing down the closing speed of the late game rings to allow you more time to fight and maneuver your way into the ring, while also reducing the waiting time before rings 4 and 6 start to close. So basically, ring 4 shrink time reduced from 2 minutes to 1:45, so the late game rings are going to close in sooner, but the later game rings are going to close more slowly. So basically, it'll bring the end of the game to a close much more consistently. Now, Bloodhound fixed an issue with the tactical UI not showing while in Bloodhound's Ultimate. Pathfinder, gas traps and jump pads will no longer float when placed next to a zip line. Wraith, slight wall bumps no longer inadvertently cancel Wraith's tactical. That was actually something that players wanted, but they're removing because it is a bug. Decoys no longer die after a tick of thermite damage. Octane ordnances will no longer get stuck and disappear when bouncing off of jump pads. Death totems no longer bounce when a jump pad is placed underneath it. Players no longer have weapons drawn if they are knocked as they enter the Fight Night ring via a jump pad. And updated Octane's helicopter emote to correctly remove his leg, for which he is using to do said helicoptering. Watson fixed the extend prompt for Watson sentences not appearing in certain situations. Drop skin will no longer block view when reloading the Sentinel. Fixed more areas where Loba's bracelet fails. This is to indicate, I'm sorry guys, but for some of you who were excited about Loba being fixed, that is not the case. Loba's bracelet will still break in some areas. I'm sorry. The red-handed skin on consoles will now properly animate, which I know a lot of people were complaining about, surprisingly. The mobile respawn beacon now has proper collision with the amped cover. Jumping on and off of the damage dealer will no longer transfer the flame effect to your weapon. Horizon, players will no longer have weapons drawn if they are knocked as they enter the fight ring. One times hollow will no longer block view when using certain skins, and fix an issue with Newt not getting refunded if it immediately dies due to a bad spot. Think about when you throw the Newt at a door and the door gets opened and cancels it. Fixed additional sights being blocked. Iron sight being displayed over the whole weapon. Prowler supply drop can now toggle fire modes. That's weird. Supply drop Prowler can now toggle fire modes. This was always in the game. I'm not sure what that's referring to. Perhaps there was a bug for a while there which made it couldn't. Move tooltips to not overlay hop-up icons. Fix the graphical issue when swapping to Sentinel. Fix the menu issue with the advanced lock options. Survey beacons will now appear on the map when teammates are respawned. So that is it, guys, for the patch notes. So let me know in the comments of the video if you guys are excited about some of the changes, what you guys aren't excited about. Yeah, just let me know. I'm excited about the new patch. I hope you guys are as well. And I'll see you guys next time.